Hey, it's Willie Armelini from Flowers and Scents with your floral industry buzz. Okay, today I have the privilege of interviewing three lovely ladies. Corinne Heck from Details Flowers Software, Deborah De La Flor from De La Flor Gardens in Florida, and Karen Barnes of Karen Barnes Consultancy, and she's the one behind the Interflora World Cup, which we're going to talk about. These ladies either have been judges or attended, or in case of Karen, she put the whole thing on. So I get to learn a little bit about the World Cup, which is much like the Olympics, I'm told. But I'll let them tell you about it because it's very interesting. So without further ado, these three lovely ladies. All right, so Corinne Heck and Deborah De La Flor and Karen Barnes. Welcome to Flowers and Scents, and I'm so delighted you ladies decided to join me today. Sorry for the little late invite, but we're all here, and I'm happy to have you all here and to talk about Interflora competition, which I'm not quite sure what your role is, Karen. Maybe you put it on. I don't know. Maybe it's your show. I'll admit that I don't know a whole lot about it, which is why I thought it would be good to find out, because maybe if I don't know a lot about it, maybe nobody else does too. So, but we'd start from the beginning. The first thing that was curious to me, I went to the website or Interflora, and is Teleflora behind it? Is it Teleflora? It has a logo. The logo looks like FTD.
Yes, so it's a bit of a complicated business. So Interflora is owned by ultimately the wonderful company, which is a Californian company and a privately owned family company, and part of their portfolio of businesses is Teleflora. And Interflora have the logo, the trademark that FTD have, as well as Fleurop in Europe. So it's a bit of a funny one to get your head round, because actually FTD are now a competitor of Interflora in the States, because Teleflora is a competitor with FTD. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but essentially the World Cup belongs to Interflora, FTD, Fleurop because of the trademark.
Okay. And so is this show, which Deborah, I believe you've been a judge twice, is that correct?
3 times.
3 times, all right. So is this sort of like the Miss America pageant or something? You get, local designers, win, and then you go up to the next level, next level, next level, then they end up in Europe. Is that how that works?
The Olympics.
It's the Olympics, right?
Every 4 years.
Oh, it is every 4 years. Okay.
Absolutely, the Olympics.
Huh. So, so that's how it works.
Competed in 2002. So yeah, it's a lot of.
No, you're sketchy again, Deborah. You're wandering around apparently.
Oops, we've lost you.
I know. I see you guys.
I see her, but okay, you're
I had to stop.
Okay. So again, it's it's the culmination of many events that end up, if you get lucky enough to be there, to be invited. You have to be invited, I imagine.
Well, so whoever is the host country will invite that particular country to potentially have a representative, i.e. a competitor, to represent their country. And each country that's invited has it's their decision whether they want to enter or not. And I have to say, from this year's invitations, most countries have entered. There's been a handful of countries that haven't been able to enter, either through political issues around the world or through finance, that they haven't just purely been able to get the finances together to support a competitor, right through from, actually getting a competitor to actually funding them through right to the World Cup. But to get a competitor, most countries go through a process of heats of competitions. And so then you find who is going to be the right person and the right competitor to represent your country. And out of that, it's just like an athletics event, I would say. You know, you have a round of heats and then you go and represent your country in, you know, the Olympics or the World Athletics competition or whatever it is. And it's very similar to that. So as Corinne said, it's every 4 years or thereabouts. I think once or twice it's been every 5th year because of, again, political situations around the world.
So is there only one competitor from each country?
Absolutely, yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right. And I believe the Americans did not win, if I'm not mistaken. As much as we were rooting for them, I believe somebody else won. Who did win this year?
Deborah, do you want to say?
Are we allowed to say, or is it already?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But Deborah was a judge, so I think
Not
it
a
would be
secret. No.
It was very, very exciting. And the
Yeah.
winner was Nicholas Peters from Germany. And
Yeah.
his work was absolutely astounding and perfectly done. To watch him work and how he did it and the placements of the flowers. And one thing he did in his designs that was really extraordinary was he let the flowers speak. You could see the integrity and the personality of each flower when he just placed something in it and he let it just flow. The goosebumps and everything were crazy. It's just unbelievable. And then we also had Elizabeth from Norway have
No.
second, and the UK with another Elizabeth, Newcomb,
Yeah.
for third place. So, and it was great. You know, when you see that the outcome is as it should have been, or maybe a variation here or there with the placements, you know that, you did a good job.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow. Apparently I have to go in 4 years. I got to make a schedule to go see this thing. Where is it at in 4 years? Do we know?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, it's in terms of where it will be. It's not always like whoever's won, i.e. Germany. They don't necessarily have to hold it in Germany in 4 years. It all comes down to which country has the appetite and the finance to host it.
Exactly.
Of course, it's expensive to host, obviously.
It's extremely expensive. I mean, Deborah and Corinne will know in 2019 it was in the States, it was in Philadelphia, and I was very lucky to judge alongside Deborah on that occasion. And then I've been very heavily involved in the UK version this year, as you appreciate, but I didn't judge, but I was very heavily involved in the organisation of it, and hopefully the streamlining of how everything progressed throughout the competition.
Okay.
I have to say that it was extremely organized by you. You did a fabulous job. From a judge's point of view, it was very a nice flow, the way you had their booths or their stands set up. And what was fun for me as a judge is that all the happenings were taking place in the center of the huge arena or train station. So we got to kind of see what was happening too and not be somewhere secretive. So it was really incredible. The way you had it all set up, the designers didn't have to store their thing third floor and use freight elevators. It was just really well done and well thought out. So I was, so impressed.
And you watch them do their designs, or you just see the end result?
No, I get to see. It was open judging. There were 2 tasks that the judges wanted to have blind judging, where we did not know who they were because they were on stage. That was the final, the top competitors. So, but we watched them. We walked around. They have a path where the judges can walk and watch everything they do, because it's really critical to see the mechanics and how they built their prop, how technical savvy they are, and then to watch them from beginning to end and just see every placement, because some designs you'll think, wow, that prop's magnificent, but then maybe the designer relied too much on their prop and didn't do enough design with the flowers, and it is about the flowers. So, you see a lot of that, but it's just incredible. I remember at one point I was really shocked by my emotions and my response to when I was watching a designer just place these intricate tiny flowers in this beautiful little bouquet, and I got ready to cry, and I had to walk away because I can't show emotion or anything, but
Oh,
No
just the way
crying's allowed.
I don't know why it just really hit me, like it was so emotional, the beauty of it and the way they were being placed. I was just like, I had to just walk away and come back later to that stand.
Hey,
It was,
look, coming from you, that's a mouthful because you are a successful designer and you know what you're doing, and for somebody to sort of tickle your fancy like that was is interesting.
and this is my third time, so I'm very, very, I take it very serious. And it was not just an honor, but it was a privilege to get to judges and just see their work. And I don't know how to design like these designers. They
We'll see
blew me
about
away.
that. But and Corinne, you were new. This was your first time. So why don't you give us your perspective from sort of a newbie on this?
Well, it was the biggest floral spectacle I've ever seen. It was really beautiful. I mean, Karen's team used all of Manchester Central was the venue, and every inch of that venue had a floral piece somewhere. So she asked me later in the production of all this, because Karen worked on this for 4 years, but about 8 months ago, she and I started talking. And so we helped her pretty much organize all of her plans so that the designs were really very well spelled out for each of the, I think she had over 100 florists that came up to set up all the different floral pieces. So it was really interesting. What I think there were 45 countries that came to see these 20 competitors represented. So I think they had a well over I don't know, I would have a guesstimate. She probably knows the exact amount, but there were so many people that came to Manchester just to see the parade of flags, to support their country, and it was not all that expensive to arrive or see it. But then if you stayed for the additional events and the award ceremonies, I mean, it was the biggest event I've ever been a part of. So it was nice.
Were they using Details Flower software to help?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a floral vision for the floral decor outside the competition. Obviously, this is two very different roles that I had. And I have to say that I had this vision and I put this PowerPoint and some sketches together. And after I'd spoken to Corinne, because I've known Corinne for a while, I said, I'd love you to be involved. She said, I'd love to be involved. Let's help. So all the recipes, as I call them, were all done for me once I'd given Corinne, there we go. Once I'd given Corinne the stems that I was going to be or my teams were going to be using, and the ideas with the imagery and sketches. And Corinne and her team just were brilliant at sending the actual specifics. And what was even more interesting behind the scenes was that I could send Corinne the stem costs, and then she could send me actually if it was a retail, consumer order. Not that this would ever happen, I'm sure, but in case it did, then we all knew how much it would cost to actually, in the real world, put it on. And it was very interesting. So great thanks to Corinne and her team, because it's beautiful piece of software, and I recommend it to any wedding and event designer. And I know that Deborah is a huge fan and a customer and a client. I know your neighbors in Florida anyway, but I know that you're a big fan of Corinne's product.
Me too, and it's given me goosebumps.
Brilliant!
There we go. No, that's so good.
It's working.
No,
it's working.
It's such a dream come true to travel over there and just see all the work and so much love that goes into this. And so I think that's what was really most notable, is how much everybody, whether you were a designer, a judge, a participant, or a guest, you just fell in love with all the flowers. And I think it also was an additional That Flower Feeling kind of campaign. And that's what they were doing over there in the UK. So it's really, I think, exciting just to see travel over there and realize that florists are dealing with the same issues, no matter if it's a small event or a giant event. And I love being a part of it. So I thought
it was fantastic. I think what we wanted to do, Willie, as a not only a business, we wanted to create not only a world-class World Cup competition for florists and would-be future florists, so they can get inspiration, but also get, you know, everyday people to come and look at flowers that not necessarily love flowers, but they like flowers or they like gardens, and just see what the creative skills of the best in floristry can do. And it's art, you know, it's not commercial in any way, I wouldn't have thought, and I'm sure Deborah and Corinne would probably agree with me, but just the works of art are exquisite. And we wanted people just to have a look, but also enjoy flowers. So everybody could come and watch demonstrations, they could have a go. There were workshops, they could have their Instagram photographs taken on a swing or a bandstand or whatever. And over the period of 3 days, we had just over 6,500 people come through the door. So for the UK, that's pretty spectacular. I know in terms of the Philadelphia World Cup, which was attached to the Philadelphia World Cup, it's nowhere near the numbers. But for us, it was pretty good. It was a pretty much successful event that we put on, and hopefully it's inspired florists of the future, you know, the students that came to see what they could aspire to in the future, but also everyday people that just, you know, my sister-in-law came, who's a nurse, and she just loved it. She had a ball, you know, and she had a go at making a flower crown and things like that. So hopefully we pleased a lot of people, and spread the word about how beautiful flowers can be.
The power of flowers was in full display, apparently. Huh?
Sorry.
The power of flowers.
Oh yes, the
was in
power of
full
flowers.
display. Yeah.
Yes,
And
it was.
You also had the artisans on the backside, because it looked like a you know, a town with the stamps, and then you had all those local artisans, which was great, doing their craft. There was that at the branches. I said, oh my God, a competitor could just buy the prop from him. So there was beautiful paintings, you know, with flowers. It was just such a great feeling, and there was something for everyone, without a doubt.
We had coffee and gin bars and different ways to like enjoy the afternoon. So it wasn't like you just came for an hour. Like people stayed the entire 8 hours of the event, and each day, and it was just a culmination. And at the end, I mean, it was just like the biggest celebration, and it felt like, you know, the Oscars of the flower world. Like anybody that you've ever admired as a designer was there, and the parade of flags, I tell you, to be there and cheer for your country, you know, just to see all the people from Spain there, they were just so enthusiastic about their competitor. And it's like, I wanted to join the Spain crowd, you know, I was like, let's go. Like I wanted to be with them. And it was nice to see that kind of camaraderie in an international way that I have never experienced. So it was really once in a lifetime.
Do they have themes? Does the designer get a theme to design around, or
The overall theme was our natural planet. So each task, as we call it, each had a theme to it. So one was forest canopies, one was clouds, one was the oceans. You know, we tried to get an aspect from each part of our core roots of the planet and what we need to do to celebrate them and contain them and look after them was all part of the schedules or the tasks. Three of the tasks the competitors knew from January, so they had 8 months to practice, prepare, and practice, and I'm sure Deborah agrees, is just key when you get to this level. Absolute key. And I'm sure that Nicholas, who is now world champion, I am sure, as Deborah said, he knew exactly where to place each branch, each piece of foliage, each flower stem. He will have practiced that many times, I'm sure. And then the other 3 tasks were all surprise items. And as a judge, and I hope Deborah agrees with me, that's when you actually see a true competitor that can actually think on their feet 15 minutes before the bell goes when they have to start. You know, you can see, and it was just fabulous. It was just fantastic. Although I have to say, I didn't see all the competition because I was so busy, you know, elsewhere in the whole arena. But Deborah, I'm sure, will tell you how amazing these pieces were.
Is this sort of gender neutral? I mean, women win, men win. There's no particular. Nobody has
There's
an
never
advantage
been a
out of
woman winner.
it. Was it a woman that? No, it was a man that won, or a woman.
Yes, a man.
A man.
There's never been a female florist that has won. So it has been
Oh.
all
Ooh,
male dominated.
Am I
There,
wrong?
there have been women people that people there have been women that have won, but unfortunately they're no longer with us. So what
Oh.
Corinne is alluding to is that we were actually very, very fortunate that at the gala night we had 8 actual World Cup champions actually in the room. So they got up on stage and they're all men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only because I think it's 2 ladies in the past have won, but unfortunately they are no longer with us, so they couldn't be there, you know. But yeah, it's time another lady won.
Very
We thought for sure it was going to be a female, and we were, of course, rooting for Jenny Thomason of the USA. And it was,
She was amazing. And
so,
what I love about Jenny is she's always smiling, no matter
Yes.
what's in here. And I'm sure she will have been heartbroken, because as an ex-competitor myself, if I didn't win, I was very upset.
Oh, well, yeah. You want to compete.
I'm in it to win it.
You're in it to win it. Yeah. Otherwise, don't be there.
Are really,
But Jenny is fabulous.
she is. She's magnificent.
Yeah,
And a lot of women came into that top 10. I'm looking at the.
Oh, they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but a thing about you were talking about the surprise packages. That first one was also about the beehive, about bees.
Oh, that was the second one. That was the second surprise. Yes.
And it was
Yeah.
just a theme also. But you absolutely must have surprise packages in every competition.
Sure.
Absolutely lets you know, because you know true creativity is spontaneous.
Yes.
I like it. I love it. I love it. So,
Absolutely.
ladies, look, I know everybody's busy, and thank you for your time. My mission here after visiting with Corinne a couple of weeks ago and chatting. I said, you know what? I don't know a lot about this Interflora Cup and the World Cup, and I know you have your own show, Deborah, here in Florida and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, we need to know more about this. And this is while everybody's fresh in everybody's mind, I thought I'd invite you all here, and you all showed up. So thank you very much. And I hope this will inspire florists who read my stuff to join or to want to participate and compete. I love it. I just love it.
The Gateway will be held September 1st through 5th, 2024 in Panama.
In Panama. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
And but Karen's probably going to be there, and I think Corinne.
So.
Yeah.
What are the specifications, Deborah, if someone wanted to enter?
So that is Educational Cup, also one that your country usually has a competition. I know Brazil is going to have their competition in January and is planning on sending us 2 competitors. So we also go by the size of the country,
Right.
how many competitors they can have. And I mean, we'd love to have 2 from each country. But it's invitational. We have to approve. We have a committee that you win and you get to go, or we have to approve you. We have talent scouts that constantly watch social media and see who's won what. We have the Mid-America Cup winner coming. We have the Sylvia Cup. Those are competitions within the U.S.
Yeah.
Also, so we're working on it now. Right now, we've got kind of 30 on the slate and 15 for sure.
Sweet.
And so we're rocking and rolling with it right now.
As I imagine you would. All right, ladies. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it a lot, and for your expertise, and good luck in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank
And
you.
you'll see this pretty soon on Flowers and Scents. See y'all later.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.